Hello, everybody. My name is Travis Whitaker, and this is my case study analysis for the case study, The New Chief Information Officer. This is for National American University for my class, Advanced Project Management, and my instructor is Dr. Jimmy Flores. All right, some of the stuff we're going to go over in this analysis, we're going to do a case overview, break down what the case study was about. We're going to go over some of the core problems, the organizational culture issues, and then we'll get into the case study questions. We'll look at why project management was difficult for the company, the impact of inbreeding, which was bringing employees up from the bottom, only hiring low level and promoting everyone from within. We'll look at project management maturity timeline, some of the interview challenges and really understanding the role for what they needed, evaluating executive support, project management culture components, such as John's four-step plan. Was the plan realistic? Then we'll go over the executive resistance, an alternative approach, and the resignation decision, and then future outlook. We'll, at the end, wrap it up with some key takeaways. All right, so case overview. The company was Rose Industries. They were a small electronics company and they ran into a problem with poor project management maturity. They didn't cultivate any project management practices or promote any external learning, such as PMP licensings and stuff like that. And it really led to issues with their overall management of their projects. And competitors were cutting into some of their profits due to their inability to manage projects effectively. So an action from it, they decided to hire an external chief information officer. This was John Green. He had a vast experience in project management and processes, and his goal was really to transform the culture and implement project management practices into their current operations. That bottom line, the company lacked structure and they brought in an outsider to fix it. So the core problem, they had no project management framework. Due to this, they also had weak information systems. There wasn't good information between projects, and there was a huge resistance to change. They were very set in their ways. This is paramount to their uh, ability to only promote from within and bring up people and not bring in any outside perspectives. And there were some executive leadership gaps where certain executive leaders did not possess those skills because they did not promote any external learning of project management principles. So leadership failed to implement a functioning project management office and was resistant to change due to an outdated culture. So some of the organizational culture issues, there was very poor communication. There was a low trust, limited teamwork. They did not really work outside their scope with to support other projects. And they were self-serving cooperation, meaning they only wanted to do things that benefited themselves. It was all about personal gain. And these are all foundational barriers in project management success. So now we'll get into some of the case study questions. So why was project management difficult? The question is, why was it so difficult for Rose Industries to implement project management prior to John Green coming on board? This is broken down in four areas. There was a long-standing culture resistance to change, a lack of the executive support, no formal project management processes. They didn't have any project management plans on how they were going to implement, and that definitely was difficult for them to navigate. And then the final thing, there was weak systems infrastructure. So the culture and leadership are the biggest blockers for Rose Industries. All right, impact on breeding. Question, can inbreeding be detrimental to project management maturity? And by inbreeding, this is them promoting from within and bringing up and not bringing in any outside uh, experience. So that promoting internally only brought a lack of fresh ideas. Nobody had any of the outside project management experience. A lot of the executives were 30 to 40 years of experience, but it was all within the company. And they really reinforced outdated practices. And by not having those fresh ideas coming in from new individuals, this really slowed innovation for the company. External hires bring new perspectives that are often necessary, especially in the project management world. So, project management maturity timeline. The question was looking at Rose's current level of project management maturity, which is not much. How long might it take the company to see some reasonable project management maturity, assuming John was not there? So, without John, it'd take them about 5 to 10 plus years to get to a project management maturity level. That would them doing a lot of research, doing internal training, stuff like that to get everybody up to speed on what current project management uh, principles look like. And this could possibly never be achieved. Some of the risks is the competitive decline. They're already seeing issues with their competitors taking their business because of their lack of project management principles. And it's leading to operational inefficiencies. Bottom line, without leadership, change stalls indefinitely. So interview challenges and understanding the roles. The question is it possible for an executive or for anyone else for that matter to determine the true challenges of the job at hand during hiring interviews? What questions, if any, should be asked? So when they brought in John, he was trying to understand the challenges they were currently dealing with and how he could help them. So what are some of the questions he should ask? So it's real difficult to assess during interviews of the organizational culture. Do people accept change and want to work towards something better, leading to that resistance to change? And then also during interviews, you don't really understand the internal politics. Case in point is Rose Industries, their management is all promoted from within. The CEO started in the mailroom and worked his way all the way up to CEO over 40 years. So the internal politics are very set in their ways. So some of the key questions you could ask during interviews to kind of navigate this is one, what are your biggest barriers to change? Next, what has failed in the past and why? And then the final question, how does leadership currently support project management? I believe these three questions right here will help you really understand the role better and what you're stepping into. So evaluating the executive support question is, how does one know during the job interview process if the promises made for support will be kept? There's promises versus reality, and support is often overstated. So you're not really knowing what you're going to get into. They may promise you support to help you get there, but the reality is it's going to be a challenge. So some of the warning signs for this, there could be vague commitments. Oh, we'll give you what you need. You just need to come to us. Um, and then another warning sign to look for is no budget or resources defined. I think coming into this, John should have asked specifically, is there the ability for me to hire in below me so I could help manage these project management issues and get resources in place? And then the final warning sign is resistance to accountability. Who's going to be held accountable for this? And ways to validate support, request defined authority. What authority do I have to make these changes? And then ask for those committed resources up front. And finally, look for alignment from executives. Are executives looking for what you're bringing to the table? All right, project management culture components. The question was, Was John correct in his four components of a good project management culture? So his four components were communication, cooperation, teamwork, and trust. And I believe he is very correct. These are widely accepted project management success factors laid out from Project Management Institute in their PM handbook. I'm sorry, their PM book of knowledge. So just continuing, John wanted to implement a four-step plan. He was going to hire in PMP certified staff. Step two was going to be create two project management offices. One of those project management offices was going to develop the IT methodologies and build that area. And the other one was to create an enterprise project management methodology that would support strategic alignment and and risk mitigations. Uh, this is a best practice structured approach. I believe John hit the nail on the head with what he needed to bring to the company to implement that change. Was the plan realistic? The question is, was he too optimistic on his four-step approach? I'll break down the strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, it brought strategic alignment, and it was a scalable framework. You divide the two departments and have them build up to what they needed. But some of the weaknesses, it was very aggressive what he wanted to do, implement two different departments, bring in project management professionals, and the biggest weakness is it was ignored by cultural resistance. The company's cultural standpoint, they did not like outside people coming in. So yeah, I believe his plan was technically sound, but it was politically unrealistic for the company's culture. So executive resistance, the question is, why were the other executives threatened by his four-step approach? I mean, looking at it, really, it's the fear of losing authority. These gentlemen have been with the ladies and gentlemen have been with the company a long time, so bringing in these new faces will really lose their authority. There's some budget concerns. Hiring in new resources definitely cuts into budget, and I think the big thing is a lot of those individuals on the executive board lack project management understanding and what the principles are that make that up. And it's because they never push their individuals to be PMP certified. And I guess just kind of looking at it, there's a threat to power and bonuses. You bring in more people, it affects your bottom line and what goes into your own personal pockets. And I believe this is the core reason why the initiative failed. So alternative approach, if John had decided to remain with Rose Industries, how might he change his four-step approach given the responses by the executives? Maybe start small next time. Take a pilot project, show them what that's going to look like. Maybe train the existing staff gradually, build them up to that. And instead of doing the two project management offices, maybe he could have started with one first and then split off to what he needed. And then through that process, he could demonstrate the quick wins that could come and gain for the teams. But I think change management must be incremental in resistant cultures. You got to slowly build it up. You just can't come in and make sweeping changes. So John resigned. His decision was John correct in resigning from the company. I believe he was justified. He had no executive support, and there was a high risk to his reputation. Maybe an alternative approach was to stay and adapt his strategy to better meet the needs of the company, but defensible decision, but not his only option. He could have stayed. Future outlook question is, why is your prognosis on Rose's chances of remaining in business? I think there's a low chance of success. They have these continued inefficiencies, and there's a risk of business failure there because they're not adapting to the current market. And it really probably requires a leadership change. And without change at the top, transformation won't happen. All right, some of the key takeaways from this. I mean, culture can block even the best strategies. Your executive support is critical. Changes only can come from the top down. Um, and change must be managed, not forced. You can't just step in and change everything drastically. Incremental changes, especially to a agency that doesn't want to accept that change, is probably the best route. And then project management maturity takes time. You can't just automatically change everything. It's going to take time to change that culture. Authority and resources must be clearly defined up front. John should have figured that out in the beginning. And then external hires need alignment from leadership in order for them to make these changes. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. Here are my references. You all have a good day.